All right, we're going to go ahead and finish up this section. We're going to talk about multiplying by more than one digit. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Multiplying by more than one digit. First thing we want to do is line up the columns vertically. If applicable, put the number with the most digits on top. We're going to multiply the top number by each digit on bottom, starting on the right. For each new digit, you want to move your result one place to the left. Basically, line up the right digit of your answer underneath the digit that you are multiplying by. You can add zeros if you want, if it makes it a little bit easier for you to read. And finally, we want to add the results of our multiplication. So let's see what this looks like. If we start with example A, we have 46 times 23. So for this problem, they both have the same number of digits, so it doesn't really matter which number you put on top. It all depends on what number you want to multiply by. So for me, I like multiplying by 2 and 3 better, so I'm going to put my 46 on top. And I'm going to put my 23 on bottom. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to multiply the top number by 3. So if we do this, we get 3 times 6 is 18. We carry our 1. 3 times 4 is 12, plus the carried digit, 12 plus 1 is 13. All right, that takes care of our 3. So the next thing we want to do is multiply the top number by 2. So we're going to multiply 2 times 6 is 12. We want to make sure that we line up our answer underneath the 2. What we're actually multiplying by is not 2, we're actually multiplying by 20. And if you remember from the previous example, or from the previous slides lecture, we added a 0 here. Now this 0, as I said, you can add it if you want, but it's not necessary. The important thing is that we line up the answer of our multiplication under the digit that we're working with. So as I said, 2 times 6 is 12. I'm going to put the 2 of my answer under the digit that I'm working with. We said it was 12, so I want to carry my 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. From there, we go ahead and add straight down, starting on the right. We get 8 plus 0 is 8. 3 plus 2 is 5. 1 plus 9 is 10. So our final answer is 1058. All right, let's try a couple more. Make sure that we got this down. Example B. We have 538 times 46. 538 has more digits, so I'm going to put it on top. I'm going to line up my 46 on the bottom, pushing it to the right, just like we did before. And then we multiply. So starting on the right, we get 6 times 8 is 48. I'm going to carry my 4. 6 times 3 is 18. We add our carried digit. 18 plus 4 is 22. 6 times 5 is 30. We add our carried digit. 30 plus 2 is 32. All right, so we're halfway done. That takes care of multiplying by the 6. The next thing we want to do is multiply by the 4. So 4 times 8 is 32, and remember we want to line up underneath the 4. So I'm going to put it here. Again, if you want to add a 0, you can to make it easier on yourself. So we said 4 times 8 is 32. I need to carry my 3. 4 times 3 is 12. We add our carried digit. 12 plus 3 is 15. We're going to carry the 1. 4 times 5 is 20. We add our carried digit and we get 21. All right, we go ahead and add the results. We get 8 plus 0 is 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 5 is 7. 3 plus 1 is 4. And we bring down our 2. So our final answer is 24,748. Note again on these multiplication problems that I am writing my numbers spaced out. I encourage you to do that so that it's easier to keep track of what multiplies together, what adds together, where does everything line up as you're working through the problem. Okay, last problem. We have example C. We have 835 times 189. Again, these both have same number of digits, so it doesn't matter which one you put on top. It's just a matter of which digits do you want to multiply by. I'm going to go ahead and put the 835 on top. And I'm going to put the 189 on the bottom. Okay, so we start multiplying on the right. 9 times 5 is 45. We carry our 4. 9 times 3 is 27. And 27 plus 4 is 31. And finally, 9 times 8 is 72. 72 plus 3 is 75. All right, that takes care of our 9. So let's move on to our next digit. Let's multiply by the 8. So 8 times 5 is 40. Again, I want to line up my answer underneath my 8, so I'm going to put the 0 there. If you want to add another 0 to the right of that, you can. So we said 8 times 5 was 40. I'm going to carry my 4. 8 times 3 is 24. And 24 plus 4 is 28. 8 times 8 is 64. And 64 plus 2 is 66. All right, last digit, we still need to multiply by the 1. 1 times 5 is 5, and again, remember we want to line up the digit where we're working or move it over one more space to the right. Because essentially what we're multiplying by here is not just 1, we're multiplying by 100. So we get 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 3 is 3. And 1 times 8 is 8. All right, now that we have our columns lined up, we're finished with our multiplication, we can go ahead and do our addition. So starting on the right, we get 5 plus 0 is 5. 1. If I add up 5 and 5, I get 10. plus 8 is 18. We carry our 1. If we go ahead and add this up, I'm going to start with 6 and 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 7 is 17. We carry our 1. We get 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 8 is 15. So our final answer is 157,815. All right, that takes care of multiplying by more than one digit. Now the next thing we want to look at is we want to talk about multiplying by numbers that contain zeros inside. So this is where that rule about line up your answer with the digit that you're working with really comes in handy. 0 times anything is 0, and so you can go ahead and multiply by 0, but it makes it a little bit harder to read, especially as we get more and more digits involved. So what you can do is, if there are zeros inside the number, you can skip and move to the next digit. The main thing to remember on this is line up the rightmost digit of your answer under the digit that you are working with. All right, so let's see what I mean by that. So when I look at a problem like 137 times 206, I actually want to put my 137 on top, just because 206, 206, there's actually only 2 digits here that I have to multiply by. So I'm going to put my 137 on top. I'm going to put my 206 on bottom. We want to go ahead and do what we were doing before, so we're going to start on the right. We get 6 times 7 is 42. We carry our 4. 6 times 3 is 18. If we add 18 plus 4, we get 22. 6 times 1 is 6, and 6 plus 2 is 8. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and multiply by 0, but if we do that, does this really do anything to our problem? No. To me, it makes it a little bit harder to read. So me personally, I don't like doing this. Me personally, I like going over to my next digit and continuing from there. I don't like doing multiplication by 0 if I don't have to. So if we go ahead and multiply by 2, we get 2 times 7 is 14. I want to put my answer, the rightmost digit, underneath the digit that I'm working with. So instead of going here, I'm going to put it underneath the 2. So we get 2 times 7 is 14. We carry our 1. 2 times 3 is 6. And 2 times 1 is 2. This looks a lot easier to add rather than having a whole row of zeros in here, which is one of the reasons that I suggest you use this technique. So we can go ahead and add straight down. We get 2, 2, 8 plus 4 is 12, 1 plus 6 is 7, then we bring down our 2. we get 27,222. Let's try one more example of this just to kind of make sure we got it. Example B, I have 3,526 times 6,002. Same idea. 6,002 has less digits that I need to multiply by because you do have zeros in there. So I'm going to put my 3,526 on top. And I'm going to put my 6,002 on bottom. So if we go ahead and multiply this, starting on the right, we get 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. Again, I'm going to skip any of the zeros inside the number, and I'm just going to move over to the next non-zero number, which is 6. We want to line up our answer underneath that column. So we get 6 times 6 is 36. Put my 6 under the 7, and I carry the 3. We get 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 5 is 30. 30 plus 1 is 31. 6 times 3 is 18. And 18 plus 3 is 21. So if we go ahead and add this, we get 2, 5, 0, 13, 3, 1, 1, and 2. I'm going to go ahead and put my commas in here to make it a little bit easier to read. We have 21,133,052. All right, so that's multiplying by numbers that contains zeros. If you're not comfortable with this, that's okay. You can go ahead and multiply by the zeros. Just make sure that you do have your columns lined up perfectly. The more numbers that we have, the easier it is to jumble them together. Okay, last thing we want to look at is application problems. So example A, we have the most expensive U.S. city for a hotel room is New York City, with an average cost of $269 per night. We want to know what is the average cost of a 12-night stay. So what are some words here that tell us we are talking about multiplication? Well, one of the first terms that we have, whenever you see per night, per bottle, per whatever, that implies either a multiplication or a division problem. And so this one, we are wanting to know what is the total cost of staying 12 nights. Well, if each night costs $269, then this is basically 269 12 times. That tells us multiplication. So let's go ahead and multiply this out. I'm going to put my 269 on top. Times my 12. If we multiply, we get 2 times 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 2 times 6 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. All right, let's move on to the next digit. We get 1 times 9 is 9. Again, I want to line up underneath the 1. 1 times 6 is 6. And 1 times 2 is 2. All right, if we go ahead and add, we have 8. 3 plus 9 is 12. Carry the 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. Plus 6 is 12. And 1 plus 2 is 3. We do want to include our correct units, so this is going to be dollars. We want cost, and so our cost is going to be $3,228. Okay, for example B, we have a medical supply house, has 30 bottles of vitamin C tablets, with each bottle containing 500 tablets. We want to find the total number of vitamin C tablets in the supply house. So again, what are some phrases here that imply this is a multiplication? Again, we have another word like per, we have each. So each tells us this is either a multiplication or a division problem. We are being asked to find the total, so this tells me multiplication. So we want to go ahead and multiply 530. So remember that when we have zeros at the end of our number, we can kind of put them off to the side. This is essentially multiplying 5 times 3, which gives us 15. We have a total of 3 zeros at the end of our problem. So I'm going to add 3 zeros onto my answer, and we get 15,000. We include our correct units, which is tablets. All right, that takes care of our multiplication problems. The next section that we're going to look at is division, so I will see you guys again soon.